Oh,
I can
makes
do
sense.
25 books for $300, and they will do an ebook and put it in their library. So, actually, it's a bookstore, and you can buy the book online.
Nice.
So it's just small companies set up for people like me, buy an author. So anyway, I should mute.
It's fine. We're on
Thank you
YouTube
for.
now, but I'm sure everyone fast forwards past this bit. We're just sitting chatting until it gets to it.
Well, it's good to see you,
Yeah,
Coco.
you too.
I,
You look very well.
I, the only place I get to see you is in the Tonglen here. So
I don't know.
it
I'm a
seems like you're
recluse.
very busy these days.
I
No,
was
you're
at.
very busy these
I went
days.
to the tea house just now,
Oh,
so
did
I
you?
just thought I'd check in
Online?
and. Yeah, I just thought I'd check in and see how the American side of things was doing.
Good,
It was okay. It was nice.
good. We have a lot of new people, and they seem to be very enthusiastic.
They do. Everyone's enthusiastic at first.
Um,
I think.
Jundo's calmed me.
I think
Jundo has
everyone.
calmed me down.
I think also everyone. I think everyone stays enthusiastic. They just post less. I think their enthusiasm just takes different forms.
I'm more interested in sitting these days.
I think that's what happens to everyone. And it's understandable when they first come, they want to get to know everyone, they want to get to know how it works, they want to chat about stuff, then they run out of questions, they get to know enough people, then they go, okay, I'll just sit now. And it's all good. I think this year we've
We
had
had the
more
coffee
people come.
shop one, and that's how I learned a lot about Buddhism from Sakishi.
Mm,
So,
he was there this afternoon. And his puppy, people seem to have puppies or cats or children. My daughter
the
was just
puppies or
here. We
cats
were
or
looking at
children.
my daughter was just here. We were just doing Macbeth, so that was nice. And I studied
Is
that
that a
when I was
game?
at school. Macbeth, the Shakespeare play.
Oh, Macbeth. Macbeth. How old is she?
15.
Is she in high school and the equivalent of high school?
We don't really have an equivalent, I don't think, because our school goes from 12 to 18.
I see. Um,
So,
that's good. We ours goes from about 14 to 18.
yeah,
It's called high school.
I guess it is the
Um,
equivalent then.
yeah,
But yeah,
you would study Macbeth in the upper level, or maybe Julius Caesar or Hamlet, maybe.
Macbeth's normally one they don't study at this age. They normally do something a bit lighter, like Romeo. Well, Romeo and Juliet's not light. I think they can get their heads around young people falling in love more than they can about old Scottish kings. So it's normally either sort of Romeo and Juliet or a Midsummer Night's Dream or one of the, not getting into a really dark. You sort of wait till they're like 17, 18 before studying Macbeth and Hamlet and Henry V and the really about war and death and
Much
violence.
much of what that is studied in college here, maybe 18 to 22.
Yeah.
Um, that's where I studied. I took a course in Shakespeare, and of course, in one of my courses, I read the sonnets. And so by the time
Lovely.
I was an English major actually. So here we go. Bye bye.
Hello.
I only just saw Evan Evan was at the tea house, so
You're right. I'm thinking
just
about
all
going
go
on.
today.
Thought I'd come to one of these again at some point.
That's good to see you. Hello. You've been here before, have you, Evan?
Once.
I know Chris, he has. I'll just wait for a couple of minutes to see if anyone else comes. Aha. Candy, I know you've been before. Do you want me to run through the instructions again, or are you fairly confident?
I'm fairly confident.
Cool. You
Thank
good
you.
as well, Evan?
I'm sorry?
Good. I was just talking to Evan as well.
Oh.
So I know he's only been a couple of times, or at least when I've been here. Okay, so this is the Tonglen practice circle for October the 4th. Hi, Mayan. You were there for a moment. Now I can kind of see pixels. There you are. You managed, did Sekishi work with you to get it?
No, I sorted it out myself.
Good for you. Just to say, for those who weren't there, Mayan hosted the tea house this afternoon, but we couldn't see her. So now it looks like.
Had a little bit of fun, yes.
Looks like it was very nice, but now we can see you, which is doubly nice. So that's a very good thing. So, as I say, this is a Tonglen practice circle for October the 4th, 2020. And we will proceed as we normally do. Mayan, do you know how to sit this, or do you want me to run through it?
I could try following. I could try following along.
Okay. You were saying earlier that the way you were taught it, you weren't sure if it was the same or if it was a worrying thing, because I know the way some people teach it, it can feel like, I guess if you're not feeling particularly healthy, it can seem weird to be kind of sucking in the pain and suffering of others. And I've actually been taught it a few ways by different teachers. And one of the ways I was taught was to imagine breathing in dark smoke. And I was saying last time that Aishin and Shonin were here, and they were amongst all the fires, and there was black smoke, and they were kind of going outside and physically breathing in black smoke. And for people like that, or people who have asthma or any problems with breathing, that's a really triggering thing to be visualizing.
Yeah.
So the most recent course I went on taught it to me that when you breathe in the suffering of others, you breathe it straight through your chest into your heart, but there it transforms straight away through the power of compassion into light or whatever else, and then you're breathing it straight out as compassion. And I found that way was A, it was a lot more direct, but B, I felt a lot better about it than like actually physically or visualizing the physical process of breathing in kind of dark smoke or thick tar of suffering. And yeah, I just found that a lot better in many ways. And I thought for other people, it will probably be better as well. But I'm still happy for people to use whatever visualization technique they use for breathing in suffering. And again, the breathing out compassion, although that one isn't normally a problem, it's just the sending metta like we normally would. But the important thing, as I always say, is actually not what visualization or technique you use, it's the ability to actually connect with other people's suffering and to connect with the sending out of compassion, that feeling, that opening of the heart, where you imagine sending out. And one teacher of mine, he used to say, you can open your heart to anything. He'd actually get a plastic cup and put it upside down. And he'd say, right, everyone sit around in a circle. You have to send metta to this cup and send loving kindness to this upside down cup. But then he'd come along and he'd, without telling them, he'd just stomp on this cup. They would go, ah, because it was just, they'd got kind of not attached to the cup, but they'd kind of imbued it with all this kind of wishing it well and wishing it joy, even though it was just a plastic cup. So it's just, it is, we've got that innate ability just to open our hearts, and often we shut it down just because the world is so, especially at the minute, it's so hard to live with an open heart because there's so much going on. So this is just a place where hopefully we can connect with the suffering of others and open our heart in a place where we can relax and we're safe. So it's doing that. So I guess that isn't a total explanation, but hopefully it's.
No, that helps. That helps.
I hope so. So anyway, the way we do a tree leaf is we split it into 4 stages. The first 10 minutes, we just sit zazen just to get into our bodies, kind of drop away whatever else is going on, and just find our seat. Then the next 5 minutes, as we would in the metaverses, as Sekashi was saying at the Zazenkai, we focus on ourselves first. And actually in the Tibetan instructions for Tonglen, one of the first instructions is start the practice with yourself. So we start with our own suffering, and then we move into 10 minutes if we think of a specific group of people or situation we want to do taking and sending for. And at the moment, not surprisingly, we've been working with the COVID situation, the wildfires in America. We've gone through periods of working with Black Lives Matter and racial tensions and stuff. So whatever you choose to work with, but it's good to have an idea of that before you go in so you don't spend 2 minutes like thinking what you want to work with. And then again, as with the metaverses, for the last 5 minutes, we widen out and we take on the suffering and breathe out compassion for all sentient beings so we don't leave anyone out by accident. So that's the way it is. And I'll, as normal, just invite the bell 3 times at the beginning. Then as we shift, I'll just ring the bell and I'll remind you of what stage we're going into next. And then at the end, we'll just ring the bell for the last time and do the verse of atonement and the 4 vows, which was what Jundo's talk was all about. So thank you so much for coming, and we shall begin. For the next 5 minutes, we do taking and sending for ourselves. For the next 10 minutes, we do taking and sending with our main subject for the evening. For the final 5 minutes, we widen out our practice to all sentient beings, taking on their suffering and breathing out loving kindness. We just end as usual with the verse of atonement and the 4 vows. All harmful words, thoughts, and acts ever committed by me since of old, on account of beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and mind, now I atone for them all. To save all sentient beings and beings numbers, to transform all delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, the reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable, to save all sentient beings, O beings numberless, to transform all delusions, O delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, the reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable, to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable. Thank you all for coming. It's really lovely to practice with you, and hopefully see you sometime soon. Take care.